Welcome, everybody, to the BEL podcast. We're starting off season 2 with some lovely friends of mine that I've met in Vancouver in British Columbia, also up here in Canada. Please give a warm welcome to our friends at Tapestry Music. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Why don't you all take a moment to go through and you can just introduce yourselves to the people.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us. It's
of course.
Very cool to be on your show. My name's Jonathan. I'm guitar player, MI sales manager, Tapestry Music, but do a lot of the content on our channel that we're here to talk about today. Mostly filmed by this gentleman right here.
Ta-da!
Mitchell, how are you? I basically press record on the cameras and let these guys do the star work.
He's a button jockey.
So I'm button jockey. Yeah.
I'm Josh, jack of all trades, master of few. Also, mostly a guitar player. So, yeah, great to be here.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys being here. And I want to
thanks,
start off with a little story from the Catslano Festival, because I walked up to you guys and I introduced myself and I said, I've heard a lot about you. And I was told that Jonathan from 604 was here. And so when you came up and you were like, hey, I'm Jonathan. I was like, I've heard so much about you.
We're like, wow, this is happening faster than we thought.
Yeah, man, I was full tilt nervous. I was concerned I was going to give off a bad impression to Freeze the Fall's new record label, and ended up just making some new friends from the internet. So welcome. I appreciate you guys being here.
Cool, man. Yeah.
So talk to me about Tapestry Music. I kind of recently found out that you guys have multiple locations as a music store, we'll say, not just a guitar store.
That's right.
Can you all speak to like kind of the origins or the beginning of that?
Who's heard the origin story?
Well, basically, it's a family-owned business started by David Sabarin. And I don't know how long ago he started.
1996, I believe.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 94. It was an odd number in the even number in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He started in White Rock.
Yes.
It's the main store, and then branched to Vancouver. They've had a shop in Victoria for a fair while, but they just moved closer to the downtown area, in a really beautiful store. So, yeah, family-owned business. David's son Michael is the vice president and really hands-on, and so yeah, we're kind of family-run and kind of getting things more off the ground than where they were before, just with some new adventures, this being one of them.
Yeah.
This being one of them. And so one of the shows that I watch of your guys is the Coffee and Pedals, and it really seems like you guys spend a lot of time on your content and the creation of it. So that's I mean, as a content creator, I think it's great to see. Tell us about the show. Tell me about the show.
So that one, that kind of came about. I joined the team at Tapestry Music a few months ago, and just before I was coming aboard, I was just checking out their social media, and I was just scrolling through stuff on my phone. I didn't have the sound on, and I saw a video that they did in Victoria, and there was two guys. I didn't know who they were, and they were on a couch, and they had some pedals, and the like branding on it says something about coffee or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. They're just like sitting there having a coffee and playing with pedals. That's a great idea. I'm so glad that they're doing that. And then afterwards I realized that it was actually, they're doing a little demo about a new brand of pedals they had called Coffee Shop Pedals, which I'd not heard of at the time. But after seeing that, I was like, we should actually do that. Like, you know, there's lots of, you know, pedal demo shows out there, and obviously like Anderton's and that pedal show are super famous, but I was like, I don't think there's really anyone in our neck of the woods doing that sort of thing where you just sit down and, you know like, not like demo stuff, but just like hang out, like as if you're at your buddy's basement or something, and like get together and just throw some pedals on the board, start playing with them and see what happens. And, you know, kind of just reactions to the pedals. You know, we don't know what it's going to be like.
God, no.
We don't plan for it or anything like that. And we just kind of sit down and go, all right, let's give it a go. And, you know, some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be bad, but we can laugh off the bad stuff, and that makes it kind of fun. So that was sort of where that just came from. And so we've been doing a handful of episodes now. I don't know, what are we up to, 6?
We just did 6.
That was 6?
Yeah.
So it's relatively new project, but it's been a lot of fun, and this is the set for it.
Yes.
Right here.
It's like your buddy's like really cool basement who owns like 65 guitars. It's great.
Well, yeah, I won't make y'all show me the whole room unless you want to. But when the camera tilted earlier and I saw the acoustic wall, it's like,
Yeah.
oh damn, it's actually like it's a music store.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're at the back of the
Yeah.
store. This is a little stage area. It's literally at the back of the shop. So acoustic guitars here. There's strings over there. There's counters over there. There's band instruments because we do band stuff too. There's tubas and oboes and
Euphoniums, flugelhorns.
yeah.
Yeah, we always have to film bigger shows like this after hours so that we don't have customers coming in and background noise. We put up curtains so that people walking by, can't see us. We've got a little bit more privacy and it helps with the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
that
little
too.
bit, eh?
Yeah.
So was the content creation side something that you had to pitch? Was it something you guys were working on already?
No, it's something I was doing elsewhere and was just looking for new adventures and started talking to these guys. And they were very much on the same page with wanting to be, just online content. Not just more, but doing more things they'd never done before. And it's definitely something, we talked and ideas definitely matched where we wanted to go and kind of how creative that we wanted to get. So, we've had just massive support for that with, taking chances or taking a guitar to the beach and filming or filming a pedal at the, just trying to include some of the local scenery and, things like that.
No, I love that. And you're right. Like it feels like a hangout. It's like I used to work at the L&M in town, and that was the one thing that we noticed was people were coming in all the time to hang out with us. Like whether we had new instruments to show them or whatever, and that was how we made most of our sales. Was hey, like I know you like PRSs. Check out this PRS we got, or I know you're looking for like a metal tone. Check out this new pedal set we got, right? And I think it's genius, man. It looks like you guys are enjoying doing it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a creative outlet. I think it's something we've all kind of wanted to do.
Sure.
So, yeah. And
So what else do you guys handle? So there's the coffee and pedals. Y'all have done some interviews. You hung out with Freeze the Fall at Catslano.
Yeah.
they're amazing. We're still saying that. They're just awesome. Yeah.
It's, I'll tell you the story of how that came to be, but it's my anniversary with them today, actually. So,
Oh, congrats.
Aw.
That's so cool.
Congratulations.
Happy
Yeah.
Hey,
anniversary.
thank you. I texted them too, like, you've dealt with me for a year.
No, they're super great. Yeah, well, we've done, we have the coffee and pedals. We have another one we started called Sundown, which is more like a kind of evening talk show kind of thing. So we've got a few guest names in mind that we can't reveal just yet, but we're hoping to do our next episode for that soon. And I mean, that just came about with wanting to interview this amazing blues player, Jimmy Delane, that grew up in Chicago and grew up around people like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, people like that. Just amazing, amazing history and a really cool guy. So we wanted to interview him 'cause the shop in White Rock knew him.
He brought his Mexican Strat that he'd been playing since the 1980s.
Wow.
Playing since the 1980s. You should have seen the fretboard on this thing. It was full on like dugout trenches on like the spots where he plays regularly. It's currently in the shop actually being worked on by one of our like master luthier technician guys, Hongbo. And it's currently got like this filler stuff in it. So I guess
He's filling it in.
he's filling it in,
Wow.
which it kind of makes me a little sad, but like, hey,
Yeah, that fretboard. If somebody watches the episode, there's B-shot or B-roll of the guitar, and you'll
Yeah.
see the neck. It's amazing.
it's cool. Yeah.
If we can remember all these, I'll put the links in the description box,
Oh, thank
y'all.
you.
Y'all can go
Cool.
subscribe to Tapestry
Awesome.
Music. Check them out. Make sure you're checking out all their videos because y'all. And something I really got to compliment you on is the production quality is unreal.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Unreal,
But
man.
we're getting there. We started with what we had, and we're building it up. It's interesting because you come in to do, guitar demos in the middle of the day, but you can kind of get away with a minimal setup with that. But now the shows are getting bigger. And things are kind of happening faster, and we're probably going to need a few more lights here and there pretty soon. Just trying to up the game and the technical side of it more.
I think it's also just to make something as good as you can as well. Like, sure, we could just, probably just take out our phones and just do videos with that, and it
Yeah.
would be fine, and people would be like, okay, whatever, it's a video, sure,
Yeah.
I get it. But, if we've got the capabilities, we've got Mitch working with us that knows how to do all this stuff, we're like, let's make it as good as we can,
Yeah.
because then the end product is just that much better to watch, right?
Sure.
Yep. Well, and I find it's more inspiring, when you look back at something and it kind of matches what you expected from it. You know,
Yeah.
because like you could do the cell phone footage and you could do the cell phone audio, but like, does that make you want to do more?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's, for me personally, it's always wanting to up the game and have a set. And yeah, watching shows, that pedal show, or, I watch every guitar thing out there, and I love all the behind the scenes things that they do, and they show their setups and what they're using and how they're setting their lights. I just got really addicted to it, and that's kind of how I got into this, just wanting to do that. And I'm a musician too, so you get to mix the two and be around guitars and cameras and but yeah,
And more cameras.
and more cameras
And more cameras.
yeah.
And lights. And more lights.
And microphones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, microphones.
So let's talk about music for a second. Let's go from Jonathan over to Josh here. You play guitar. What kind of music
Yeah.
you into?
I'm into like jazz fusion, prog rock, metal. I don't know, quite a gamut of things, but anything that's got like technical guitar playing, I would say, is kind of my jam.
I
for
gotcha.
sure.
What kind of guitar do you play? What's your go-to?
I mostly play some Charvels, like Charvel SoCals and just super strat type things that work really nice for me. They're actually the Made in Mexico guitars Pro Mod series, and they're killer. They're great little guitars. They don't cost that much, but it's like playing a Strat, but you got Floyd Rose, you got big frets, you got a flatter radius, you got hot pickups. It's everything you need to sort of get around on there. So that's generally my go-to certainly for any of my fusion stuff. I've got a project called Crinkum Crankum that's an instrumental trio, and it's somewhere in the jazz fusion to rock kind of side of things. So
It's funky though.
So I use that setup for that band. If I'm playing like traditional jazz, I'll use a ES335. But for my go-tos are the Charvels for sure.
I had a friend of mine in high school's dad had a Charvel from the, I want to say late 80s, early 90s.
Cool.
And he hadn't picked it up since his divorce. And pulls it out of his case to show me, and it plays like a G chord perfectly in tune.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
He's like, I haven't touched this in 10
Yeah.
years. Yeah, great guitars, man.
That's what I love about the Floyd Rose. I was at first I was like, oh, I can't play a Floyd Rose. That's like so lame, like 80s shredder kind of thing. But I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. Once I tried it, I just got hooked because you can do anything you want to the guitar, and it's in tune. It's great. No more like, because I was playing Strats before, and every time you use the whammy bar, it's like, oh boy, here we go, dive bomb, and then it's like, now it's totally out of tune. I gotta pull on this string and pull on this string or whatever. And now it's like, I don't care. I'm just like flick the whammy bar, dive bomb, comes back perfectly in tune. It's great. Turns into a bit of a hooligan though, because there's no consequence to doing silly dive bomb things. So.
Just
Part of
sick.
the show, man.
Yeah.
Showmanship.
Yes. Show boat.
So then you may as well walk me through your whole rig. What kind of amp is your go-to? I'm assuming you got some pedals that you're gonna like step on most of the time.
Yeah. So for that project, it's a pretty big rig. The amp is a Mesa Boogie Stiletto Deuce. It's the 100-watt head. It's the stage 1 version. They did a second one later because when that amp came out, everybody was kind of disappointed in it, I think. Everybody was used to like the Rectos. That one came out and they wanted that like big Recto grind out of it, and it just didn't really do that. It was a fair bit lower gain than those, so everybody was like, oh no, we want like more gain. So the second version, they put a whole lot more gain into it, and it sounds a little more like the Rectos. But the Stiletto for me, it's cool. It's like a juiced up Marshall, but it's really, really articulate, which is nice. So that's the amp that I use. The pedal board, I haven't looked at it in a while. It's big. Be easier to show it to you. I don't know. I've got like a MIDI switcher, like a one control MIDI switcher that everything's plugged into. There's a Jerry Cantrell wah first goes into it, and then I'm trying to think. I got a Jackson Audio Fuzz, which is a really cool fuzz pedal. I've got a, oh boy, what do I got on there? I got a envelope filter from Keeley.
Right.
For the quacky stuff as well. I love envelope filters. They're so much fun. I use the wah like a little bit, but I actually prefer envelope filter for most of that.
Interesting. Okay.
I've got a phaser on there, a Red Witch Deluxe Moon phaser.
Did you say your timeline?
I've got a timeline on the end of that, Strymon timeline that's in the loop for delays. I've got a Line 6 HX1 on there, was the most recent thing I got, which it's like their little multi-effects, but like just one effect at a time. And I use that for harmonies actually, like harmonizer in the loop, amongst other things. That's the main thing for that. And, oh, I've got a ring modulator on there from, what are they called?
The,
Source audio? No.
Not Source Audio.
was that the
no.
Vitruvian?
Yeah, the Vitruvian mod.
Who
from,
made that?
The name escapes me who makes that one, but it's such a fun pedal.
Sure.
Vitruvian mod.
Was
Get
that
yourself one.
Catalan? Catalan bread? Maybe?
No, it's not Catalan bread.
No.
It's anyways.
Yeah, I can
And-
see it in my mind's eye. But
I don't know, a couple exotic boosts on there, like RC booster
Oh, yeah.
and BB. So, anyways, that's the big mothership of a pedal board.
That's the one downfall we'll call it working at the music shop, right? Get your hands on all the
Oh,
gear.
man.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh, I've got everything I need. Then someone comes in, you're like, oh, I totally need that.
big air quotes
It's like,
on that.
oh, I don't have that guitar in that color. That's pretty cool.
But this one sparkles.
Yeah.
I had like 6
Temptation.
SGs at one time.
6?
Yeah, they were one of the only guitars I actually like will stick to owning, but I don't know why I needed so many of just SGs.
Ah, yes,
Because
man.
they're
Purple
so cool.
PRS and then 6 SGs.
So sick, man.
Were they all different colors?
Yeah, they were all different colors. I bought one of the white ones when they put the Robo tuners on it, but I never
Oh.
used the Robo tuners. Just pulled them right off and put some like heritage ones
Everybody
on.
did.
Yeah. They had like a little bit of resale value with the Robotuners, but it was so niche. Like, we had one of those in at the other guitar shop, and yeah, that it took a very special type of person to pick that one out and be like, yes, it still has the Robotuners.
Yeah.
I-
I didn't get it. It wasn't for me.
No, couldn't see myself using it. Very disparate.
Mitchell, you're a musician too, you said?
Yeah, I sing and play guitar.
Nice, okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your rig. You can do vocals if you have a vocal chain, or you can do guitar.
He's
no,
got a bigger pedal board than I do.
It's pretty nuts. I do vocals, but there's no major chain for that. Bit of reverb. That's about it. The pedal board's pretty crazy. I'll start with the guitars. I got a couple of PRS, or one PRS hollow body and Ibanez hollow body. I like the hollow bodies. And I'm kind of just running through a couple of Source Audio, the Ventress and the Nemesis, to the PRS Horsebeat Overdrive, Boss RV6, to Seymour Duncan Power Stage 200, out to PRS 1x12 cab.
You got a Space Echo in there too, eh?
I do it. Yes, I do have the Boss Space Echo in there too. Yeah. There's too many. It's big.
That goes.
Nice.
What kind of music do you play, or what's your go-to?
It's all original. A lot of influence from people like Bowie or Nick Cave, maybe some Velvet Underground kind of.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of along that line. Singer-songwriter, mellow, but got a dark undertone and a bit of avant-garde. So yeah.
I like that. Josh, how about yourself?
Yeah, kind of on the meat and potatoes, rock and roll kind of side of things. Heavy psychedelic rock is probably what I usually define it as. Lots of Gibsons. I too am an appreciator of the SG. My main show guitar is the Gibson SG Zoot Suit. You ever see it?
I feel like my mind's eye sees it, but
Yeah.
I need to
Too
look
bad we
it
didn't
up
have it
after
here
you
to
like that.
show it.
I honestly, it crossed my mind. I'm like, oh, if we're gonna do, I don't really know until this morning. We're gonna represent ourselves with the guitars that we have on stage, and it's stuck at the jam space though. But it's this crazy SG, red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, because it's made out of layers of wood. So this is the horizontal view, right? It's layers of wood, and not like a normal SG. The top is sculpted, sort of like a Les Paul. So when you sculpt that top, it reveals all those layers kind of, rippling from each other. And my 18 or 19-year-old self was just like, that's the coolest thing in the world. How come it's 50% off? Because everybody else in the world hated it. It was bombastic, and it is bombastic, and I put it away for a few years, but in the past couple years, I was like, my band is bombastic. Like, yeah, let's bust that out again. So that's my main guitar, but like at home, I usually play 1996 white Les Paul Studio. I also have a 2007 Les Paul Standard satin finish, faded standard. I got a Japanese Strat. I got a Japanese SG that looks a lot like this Ibanez Japanese late 70s lawsuit, I guess. Gold hardware, bunch of dings and nicks. I love it. Shoot, what else do I got? I got a Jazzmaster that hasn't seen the light of day for a minute. Yeah, that's the main guitar rundown. Pedal-wise, Earthquaker devices. Across the board, basically. Yeah, shoot, I have the Tentacle for octave stuff, getting weird, which I pair with a phaser on phaser on manual mode to get a weird sound. White light overdrive, Hizumitas for gnarly earth-rending fuzz. And then when I need to get a solo in there and have to be louder than my other guitar player, RC Booster from Exotic, which me and Jonathan have in common, I believe. That goes into a rainbow machine.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is great to fill in the gaps between songs. Somebody's tuning or whatever, just like it gets weird. Then we got the Echoplex, and basically, lastly, the Earthquaker Afterneath for some eerie reverb, and then of course, the Boss TU3 tuner.
The center of your tone.
Exactly. I know. I thought about getting the Wazacraft one just to really get in tune,
It sounds great.
That all runs out into a orange Rocker 32, which I've had for about 10 years at this point, and it keeps kicking. I dropped it downstairs one time. Knocked a screw loose, but that was it. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna out you guys because I've heard of at least one interview that y'all did. But how do you guys find the interview process? Because me myself, I always get super nervous about it, and I write down questions, and then the questions just skip my mind, or I don't end up following them or whatever. So how has the interview side been going for you guys?
So the interview has been interesting because it's something that honestly I don't really have any experience doing. So it's totally been like by the seat of our pants, but we're like, hey, sure, let's do it. Why not? And most of the interviews we've been doing so far have been kind of on the fly, like backstage, like when we met you at the Catalano Festival there. So when we showed up that day, we didn't even have anybody lined up to interview, and we didn't know who we were going to interview. So we were just walking around looking for stuff that was interesting and approaching people to see if they would do an interview with us. And for those, basically, I would sort of skim their bios that were online and just look for a couple interesting points that I thought we could make some conversation with, that they'd be probably, stoked to talk about if they had a new record or if they're going on tour or whatever, stuff like that. And so I just kind of had like some loose ideas of what I want to talk about. Those were pretty quick interviews too, so they're over in a hurry. Last week, we interviewed Randy Bachman down at the PNE, which was really cool. That was a really quick one too, because literally they gave us like 3 minutes. It was like, clock starts now, go. And so that one was like, that was it was a special day for them, for the BTO, because it was a 50th anniversary of BTO playing at the PNE. So they're giving Randy this award and all that sort of stuff. So started the interview off just congratulating him on that. And then basically I just wanted to talk about guitars. So I asked him about his guitar, which he was totally stoked on, because he's probably sick of talking about, the tour and the band and everything that's going on. So I just asked him what his guitar was. And he told us this great story about his current #1 Les Paul that he's been using for quite a while now, and the story of how that came to be and all that sort of stuff. And he got really animated talking about the guitar, and then as soon as that was done, boom, our time was up. So that made that easy. It's like, okay, we're done, I guess. But the long form interview that we've done so far was the Jimmy Delane interview. So that one, I did a bunch of research on Jimmy ahead of time, and just reading about his past, because he's got a super interesting past, because he grew up, he was the son of Jimmy Rogers, who was in Muddy Waters' band and wrote some very iconic blues standards that like Clapton has covered and stuff like that. So he's got this whole long history of growing up around the Chicago scene, touring in his dad's band, doing his own thing, playing with like Stevie Ray Vaughan's band and stuff like that. So like really cool things. So I did my best to sort of read up on him and have an idea of maybe some things to talk about. And we did a pre-interview phone call. And as soon as we did the pre-interview phone call, I was like, we could have just recorded that phone call.
Yeah.
Like it was just great. Like every question you ask him, he's got this big, long, amazing story. And there's just no shortage of things to ask him. It was almost more difficult to keep it down to like a reasonable amount of time, because we could have talked for hours, or I could have listened for hours, would be a better way of putting it. Even once we were done the interview, camera turned off, he then started telling us a story about the night or like the day that Stevie Ray Vaughan died, and he was talking with them like the night before, and they were supposed to hook up the next day, and we're just like, oh my god, this is totally wild. We're like, turn the cameras back on. This is so cool, right? So I don't know. I guess the short answer is basically, I mean, I try and do a little bit of research and go in with a bit of a game plan, but have nothing defined, so that once the interview is going, because you'd never know how it's going to go and what's going to happen. You know, I kind of want to leave it open, and I find if I get too specific with questions and memorize it too much, then I'm going to screw them up. So if I don't have anything like totally pre-written, then I can't screw it up, right? So it's all, I know, all these shows that we're doing, it's all just, you know, kind of improvised off the cuff.
Yep.
And even when we do the pedal demos in here too, there's not really any prep for it. It's just set up, go. So we're not like really practicing and rehearsing. It's just live, and that keeps it interesting, keeps it a little scary at times.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's life on the edge.
Genuine though, like you said it earlier, like when you genuinely respond or react to how a pedal is, whether it's good or bad, like that's where it pulls me in, and it feels like we're friends now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it feels like I'm hanging out at the guitar shop, sipping my coffee, and we're goofing off with some pedal.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think that genuineness, I think it's making a big comeback in content. Because, like, you know, things have been so polished for a long time. Music's been so polished, like pop music and everything that was so big.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to get, like, nasty rock bands back, and things are getting heavier and heavier. And, yeah, I don't know. I think there's, like, a genuine piece that's been missing, and I think it's really starting to come back.
It's the integrity.
Yeah.
You've been missing integrity.
Integrity. So you said Randy Bachman loved talking about his guitar. Isn't he just, like, the most kind gentleman?
He was amazing.
It was great, yeah. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, but and it was clear that like he was on a schedule. He had his people like moving him around, and he was probably pretty tired, and you know probably wasn't super interested in talking with us. Didn't know who we are, but as soon as we started talking guitars, he just lit up, and he just kept talking, and it was pretty cool. There was many questions I would have loved to ask him about other, you know, guitar stuff, and about Lenny Breau, a great guitar player from Winnipeg that he grew up learning from, and put out some of his records actually in the end. But he was just
Randy,
very genuine.
Sundown episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on back, Randy. We need to talk more.
You heard it here. Someone send it to Randy.
Yes.
Tag him in the thing below. I don't know. There's more
I mean,
YouTube
I've listened to
than Instagram.
lots of his CBC show when that was going.
Yeah.
Vinyl Tap, I think it was
yeah.
called Vinyl
That's
Tap,
right.
and that was really cool because he's playing music. But what was more interesting was every song that he would play, he had a big story about the behind the scenes of it. And so it was actually more interesting hearing those stories than the song itself. But it was neat when he would talk about what happened in the studio that particular day with that particular artist and things that happened. And then you hear the song and you go, oh, Cool. That's what that was. Like there was like an episode where they played a song. I don't remember the artist, but it's like sort of a yacht rock classic. And if you pull up like a yacht rock playlist, it usually shows up on there. But what they did is there's this part. It sounds kind of like a keyboard part, but it's actually sampled vocals.
What?
And it's from the 70s, right? But they literally, like, every pitch is a human voice that was sampled, and then they played it, like, triggered it with the piano. And so it's got this kind of eerie sound to it, but it sort of sounds like a keyboard. And I wouldn't have guessed that it was actually, like, sampled voices that were playing that part, but that's what he was explaining in the lead up to playing that song. And then when you hear the song, you're like, oh, that's totally human voices, but like triggered by piano. It's really cool. I wish I knew the name of the song, but I
A bit
don't
of
know.
a tease there. Yeah.
Look up the Yacht Rock Essentials playlist, and it's
It'll
about
be on there.
halfway down.
Drop the answer in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for, like, I was part of like a local crew. It was nothing fancy, but I think it was just Bachman Turner was touring. I think that was the setup. And the opening band is finishing. I'm about to run on stage and grab keyboards and strip the stage off. And I'm walking backwards with this keyboard from the opener, and I just like smack into a brick wall, and it's Randy Bachman.
Ah!
And I'm like, I just turn around, and he's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, he's a
Maybe
big
I'm, like,
guy.
short, but he's a tall guy. And I remember looking at him in his suit and just going like, please don't fire me. And he was so kind. He was like, man, they were pretty good. He's like, I didn't want to stop watching them.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And that was my only interaction with them. But
Yeah.
it was pretty neat. I've seen a lot of rock stars fly off the handles over stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got any good stories to share with us right now?
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna say any names, but I've seen lead singers like screaming at monitor techs. I've seen them throw microphones. They were doing like an acoustic trio thing mid set, and they had canoes on stage that they were singing in. And the guitar player's wireless mic quit working, so he just grabbed it and hawked it, and just like onto the stage, and it was horrendous, man. You don't treat your crew like that.
Yeah.
Bit of a diva move there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little diva.
In his canoe.
I'm coming after you, man.
Do y'all, and feel free to answer this, all three of you or any one of you, do y'all have like a dream interview that you would look for on the channel?
Oh, man.
I would do any interview because I haven't been a part of any of them yet. So no, I'm usually still working White Rock actually when these things go down. Not that I take it personally or anything.
Your day's coming. Your day's
It's all
coming.
good.
I don't know.
Interview, I don't know.
Tony Iommi.
Any of the guitar legends have someone else come play your pedals for you?
Absolutely, that'd actually be so sick.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because, like they say, like, don't meet your heroes, right? So, and I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I don't know if would I want to meet like a guitar icon that I've looked up to a long time and have a great experience and think that it's awesome, or maybe it would actually not be that great of an experience and then be like, kinda, I don't know.
Well, like a safe
that's
bet
tough.
guy, like it'd be hard to get him, but like keep him with the Canadian theme, like Alex Lifeson or something. Please, Alex.
Yeah.
Because like he's like, I mean, I don't know. I've only seen him in TV shows and movies, like on Trailer Park Boys and whatever. But he seems like a genuine dude. Like he just seems like he's
probably.
chill and just like affable and yeah, I don't know. He's pretty high legend status though. So we'll see if Rush without Neil comes to town and maybe probably end
who
up being
knows?
one of those 3-minute things though.
Yes.
Probably be a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had, was it last week, Aristocrats were in town, so we reached
yeah.
out to see if we could get Guthrie Govan, but we didn't hear back, so
Too bad.
that would have been probably pretty cool,
Yeah.
I would think. But,
Just need a little more.
Y'all live in like a good city for touring shows because we get nothing around here.
Yeah.
Even Calgary is pretty few and far between. They'll go to Edmonton, but the world tours are Vancouver and Toronto,
Yeah.
which, like, I don't always want to fly to Vancouver for a show.
it's a ways.
Yeah. That's like only about an hour, like once you're in the sky. It's kind of crazy, but
But all the getting to the airport.
it,
and-
ugh.
Yeah, 2.5 hours to the airport, then you got to be there 40 minutes early. That's too much math for me.
No man.
it makes for an expensive concert, too.
It does.
Yeah, that too. See, that is the nice thing to keep leaning on Freeze the Fall here. I enjoy their music enough that for me it's like a concert, but I like it's a quick flight, so like I don't mind, and then I don't have to pay for the concert either because I do sound for them.
There you go.
So,
Win-win.
Yeah.
yeah, it works out.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of the really big tours often miss Vancouver too. Like I'll see shows for like Toronto, Montreal, but that's it because it's like seems like it's a hassle to come up into Canada, and especially coming to any cities other than Toronto, just because they're all so freaking far apart.
Yep.
So far away.
And if they do come to Vancouver, it's either the first show or the last show of the tour, because it's like way out here.
Oh yeah.
Those are the best shows, though, in my opinion. Either it's night one and like everyone's on their nerves, everyone's on their best behavior, or it's the last night and everyone's excited to go home. They got all the extra confetti they got to get rid of. Like those are good shows.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what? King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is coming to Vancouver next week.
Next week.
Next week.
There we go. Dropping the line.
Oh boy, that'd be hard. But also, they just seem like rascals. Like I don't know if you could
Sounds like your first interview's coming up.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Ambrose, oh my God. Stu.
So aside from interviews, aside from pedals and coffee, where do you guys see the channel going?
Tough question. every day there's new ideas. Kind of getting out and shooting more. I think right now we're really focused on developing what we've started and making sure that's just a little more solidified.
Yeah. We're working on the brand right now, kind of.
Yeah.
It is a pretty new channel.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the stuff that we've been doing, like the coffee and pedals and the demos and things, have really just been the last few months. Like, it's been just over the summer, really.
Yeah.
So it's been like probably 3 months or so, 3 or 4
wow.
months. So yeah, it's all pretty fresh. So we're
Yeah.
I saw you guys crossed over 1,000 subscribers. I think you're at 1,150-ish now.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
I want to say, man, congratulations. That's a lot of growth in a few months.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was fast.
yeah, it grew pretty quick, which was nice. It was
Yeah.
like one day it was like 500, and then the next day it was like pff, now we're at
Yeah.
1,000. I was like, oh wow, how did that happen? So
What was the catalyst for that? Like, did we put a video out that day or something? Or?
Just all the great things we were doing, Josh.
Obviously.
word's getting around.
It just kept growing. It just every day you'd see new subscribers.
Yeah. Well, we tricked the algorithm, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely lots of things that are on the mind. We started some kind of big things right off the bat with Coffee and Pedals and the Sundown, things like that, wanting to get out to festivals and interview, some of the artists like we have, and that was great. I love doing that kind of thing. What else? We'd love to do things where we go out and just talk about people's gear, either at
True.
home or rehearsal or a venue, things like that. So
Yeah, that was the next thing that in the beginning we'd talked about doing, but haven't gotten around to it yet for various reasons. Was doing like rig rundown sort of videos. Go to like
Nice.
sound check or studio, and just people fire up their gear and talk about their pedal board and stuff like that. So haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, but soon, I think soon.
yeah, I mean, we're not breaking new ground with it. We're just trying to put our own twist on things that we enjoy watching to begin with. Obviously, there's that pedal show, and we're we get it. It's like that. So we're just trying to do our own twist on it.
What pedal show?
Yeah, exactly. Dan and Nick
Never
Who.
heard of them.
Have to check this out sometime.
So interview shows, things like that. Just things that, like I said, things that we enjoy watching, but we also want to do those things. And,
Yeah.
I love that kind of thing.
And
But-
a lot of it too is about the sort of the local community. Is
Yeah.
a lot of these things where we're getting out to concert events or doing, at soundcheck for local shows, if we can bring some excitement to the local community in that regard, because you can go on YouTube and you can see rig rundowns for like lots of famous artists out there, but to do it at a local level would be pretty cool, and I think the local scene would benefit from it, and it just helps foster sort of the community. And yes, we're coming from a retail music store, but the music community is tied into that. We're sort of breaking down the barriers of like, here's the store and here's the customer.
Yeah.
We're not just trying to necessarily sell things. We're trying to get involved and create a bit more of a scene and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's a big part of it too.
If I could be a little prophetic, like my background aside from music is in like sales management, and you're not supposed to sell something you don't believe in. And if you believe in it, you're not really selling it. You're just kind of helping someone get what they need.
Yeah, man.
And like if I don't know, if you guys roll up to a warning show and you do a rig rundown and I want Danny's guitar amp sound, then you can tell me what it is and you can offer me the product, and hopefully you feel good about that. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're around the things we love to be around.
Yeah.
And talking about it. We'd be doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Never want to shill.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily, we're not selling, vacuums or, I don't know, carpet siding or something.
A custom shop Dyson sounds pretty good.
Vacuums are kind of cool. The technology's come a long way.
It's true. It's true.
No, man, I like that. I dig that. I dig you guys' vibe. I hope that the channel does nothing but grow and grow and grow and surprise you guys.
Thanks, Justin.
If I can speak from any experience, you're gonna make you want to make as many mistakes as possible.
Well, so far, so good.
That's the first thing I tell people. Like, you'll never make as many mistakes as me, man. Like, I think I've posted like 15 or 1600 videos on YouTube, another 1,000 on my other site that I use, and just fail forward. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, done.
Okay, I'm gonna I'll tell you guys my story about Freeze the Fall and how it came to be, and then I'd love your kind of candid feedback on their show if you kind of can recall it.
Oh yeah.
I know you guys only saw a short set from at Ketslano, but it is my anniversary with them, so I got to tell someone.
Oh, cool. Yeah. that
So
sounds
like my content, I'm a reactor. So I was a live sound guy I'm on 17 years now, and I try not to just react and laugh and God, that was good, let's go on to the next one. Like I try to offer something back. So if I hear a vocal compression that I recognize, I won't try to guess what the gear is that they're using because that's impossible, but I'll talk about like how important compression is or reverb or delays or blah blah blah, mixes, all that stuff, right? And I got sent a video from one of my supporters called Terry, and he said, "Hey man, there's a teen band that did a cover from The Warning, and they're pretty good." He's like, "I was hoping you could watch one of their originals and maybe offer them some feedback." I was like, let's go. I could talk some kids into how to play some rock and roll.
Sure, yeah.
And they were killers, man. Like I watched one of their originals. It was like a ballad that picked up and it went into like double time on the way out. And it was beautiful, like head voice vocals and really well written lyrics. And I just went like, like this is pretty good. I really don't have much to say. And I watched another one. It was more of a hard rock song. It went really good. And they were really excited to have a reaction or someone helping push their content out. And they got a hold of me. They sent me some shirts, and I invited them onto a live stream, which was a year ago today. And on that live stream, it was like the third hour of me watching this live concert. And I just said, if there was 300 people in the chat, I was like, if everyone kicks me $2, I said, I'll just give all that money to Freeze the Fall. Maybe they can book a studio for a day and get us a good recording of them. Like we all want to hear it. Let's put our heads together and let's do this. And so that turned into $1,000 donated and a recommendation to start their Kickstarter, which did, I think, $12,000 in 72 hours.
Oh,
No
wow.
way.
It was just amazing, man. It was like, y'all have an opportunity, like run with this.
Yeah. Get in the studio now.
Yeah, like yesterday. And so they auditioned a few studios. They landed on one, Oodle. I always get the name wrong, but out of Kelowna.
Okay.
Jordan is the producer there, the owner there, and they put together a 5-song EP, man, and it rocks. I don't know if you guys have it, but I'll send it to you. It's on Spotify.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's huge and it's loud and it's rock and roll and it's like meaningful lyrics and very well constructed songs. And after their first release, they got approached to do a record deal after their first single.
No way.
And so that stretched on for a couple of months, and then they finally signed a distribution-only deal, a media deal with 604 Records. And it's been a beautiful relationship. They've really taken care of the kids. I don't like calling them kids, but Freeze the Fall. Mm-hmm. And it's been a really cool kind of upbringing. So they're the ones that got us into Ketslano. They're the ones that got us into Starset or Somerset Festival or something in Vancouver as well. And how I came to meet you guys. So.
Yeah.
That's kind of the history of Freeze the Fall and me.
That's sick. I wish I got to be at that show.
Yeah, Josh missed out on that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of luck that we ended up at that show too, because we were actually we were looking at the whatever, the pamphlet or, for what shows were happening. And we were just kind of bouncing from stage to stage. And we were like, oh, let's go check out this band over here. And we're like, oh, we missed them. And we're like, oh, maybe let's see what's happening over there. And we're just looking, we're like, oh, it's band, like they're some kind of like heavy band, maybe metal, but there's teenagers. We're like, oh, this sounds pretty interesting. And it was just getting set up at that time. So we thought, oh, let's have a seat over here and regroup and see what happens and see if we can talk to these guys. And we did interview them afterwards and got to see the whole show and got some good footage of the show too, actually. Right?
Yeah, they were amazing. You could tell there was a buzz in the air when we got there. It was pro right away. It was organized. It was pro.
Very
you could see
pro.
there was a crew around them. It was like, oh, something's about to take place. And so, we just wanted to stick around and see what it was. And it was awesome. It was very impressive. Yeah.
It definitely had more of the vibe of like a big professional touring act than, other acts that were playing at the festival. I mean, most of the bands there are pretty DIY, but when Freeze the Fall rolled up, it was like, whoa, there's like, they've got like branding and there's like crew that clearly work for them and lots of gear. And it was like, these guys have their stuff together for sure.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
It was. I'm really glad that was the show you guys caught because Quinn, the guitar player, she just got her first guitar amp. She had a practice amp, like one of the Marshall 15s, and that was all she played.
Wow.
Really?
Board. So her dad bought her a 5150, and that was the first time we used it. Was at that show.
Yeah.
And then we had a trainer. There was like the stage kit, the backline set up there. It was a trainer 410 that the guy before us told us he blew it. And I was like, what? Like,
Thanks.
the bass amp's blown? Like, what? And, but the trainers, if you hit them too hard, they just shut off. Or they just mute, right?
Yeah.
So I just dialed it back a little bit and it sounded good. And she plays a dark glass preamp and she's got a nice chorus pedal on there. And yeah, it hits pretty hard.
She was playing a Dingwall, I remember too.
Dingwall,
What?
yep.
That was cool.
Big old 5-string. And she's not very tall. Like, she was 15 at that show. When I hug her, my shoulder, like, rubs like right into her forehead. So and I'm not very tall either, but somehow she holds that thing up. I don't know how. It's got to be as big as her.
Yeah, totally.
Just
It's awesome.
the stage presence and their organization on stage. What's the drummer's name again?
Jonah.
Jonah. It was amazing the way he stands up behind the kit with the microphone and addresses the crowd. And it's like, man, they have worked hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's
Yeah,
cool
they're
to
very
see.
well rehearsed and
Yeah.
coached, I'm assuming, for the sort of show banter and stuff like that. It was all came across very pro.
Like they rehearse their show banter, which I think is really important.
Oh.
So they practice 3 times a week. 2 click track. They've all got in-ears. They're okay in-ears. Kind of budget friendly stuff, right? Like nobody's really just dumped a ton of cash on top of them.
Yeah.
Which I think is important too. Like you kind of got to cut your teeth a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But they definitely are in good hands, man. Like it seems like everyone's there to try to help. Kevin Moore, if you guys know who Kevin Moore is, did all their merch design and all their branding. So he also did Spirit Box.
Okay.
That's the only band I can remember right now, but he's done a bunch of
Yeah.
bands. He also plays in a band I'm going to see on Friday, Misery something. I told y'all I'm bad at names.
Oh,
Yeah.
Misery
The guy who
Signals?
does the
Ah,
recordings,
sounds
like
right.
he helped out a lot. They did. They hired a group called 26 Films to do 5 music videos. So they shot all 5 videos as like live performances in a barn on December 8th in Canada.
Nice.
No, man.
You could like see her breath coming out because it's cold and their
Yeah,
poor
yeah.
hands are just like red. But
Interesting
But yeah,
choice.
like, they got to cut their teeth. They got to learn, right? And
Yeah.
it seems like they're really putting their hearts into it.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Well, and congratulations on your first year with them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
thank you.
Go.
I appreciate that.
Cool,
But
man.
hey, I appreciate you boys being here. The channel is open to y'all whenever you would like to come on, and I wish you nothing but success for your channel. Anything else you'd like to say on your way out, or?
Hi,
Thank
Mom.
you.
Yeah, thanks
Say
for
thank you on the way out. We
Thanks
really
for
the
appreciate this,
opportunity.
Jesse. Yeah, really appreciate it a lot.
Thanks for making the time.
Yeah.
Anytime, man. Like I say, my channel is open. It is welcome for you guys. If you're excited about something, feel free to come on here and tell the people.
We'll be back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your own channel. You can do that on too, but
Sure.
Yeah.
2 videos in one night. I don't know.
Yeah, now's your turn.
Well, then our, and we'll sound a lot more rehearsed when we get onto your shows. We'll have already done the freewheeling improvised thing here.
Next time you're in next time you're in town, we'll have you on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, October 29th, I think we're shooting for a show in Vancouver.
Cool.
So
Maybe
I
we
don't
can
know what
tee
days
something
I'll
up.
be there and what day I'll fly home, but I will let you guys know.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely let us know.
Did you guys have any questions for me before I just like run out of here?
I don't know. Off camera, we can talk about tech stuff at some point, but it doesn't have to be tonight.
Yeah, okay, sure. That
Yeah.
sounds great.
What's on the front of your hat?
Oh, it says I'd rather be mixing.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I'm gonna make one with a line through it. It says I'd rather be fishing.
Okay.
These are inspired by David Bendeth, if y'all know who Bendeth is.
Can't say I do.
No, he's a producer out of New York, New Jersey. He did Elvis's 30 greatest hits in 2002. He also discovered like Under Oath and Breaking Benjamin and Paramore. He did Paramore's big record.
Okay.
But recently connected to him through my podcast actually, and so yeah, I got to make a hat that says first you fix, then you mix.
Yeah. Words to live by.
Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's just you never know who's watching until you put the content out, and my content is not always consistent, is not always top tier, but it's done. That's the thing, right?
It's
yeah,
out
you
there.
just got to
And,
dive in and do it.
Yeah, and like honest to God, Bendeth has been my main inspiration for mixing and for like sounds since probably 2007. So the fact that I have his phone number on my phone just
That's
like
cool.
keeps me up at night.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
freakiest thing.
That's very cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I say, I truly mean it when I like wish you guys the best with your channel. I'm sure it's gonna do great. I'm sure you're gonna have all kinds of problems in the way, and you're gonna get through them all, and amazing things will come from it.
That's cool.
Cool,
Thanks,
man.
Jesse.
Okay, boys, great to have you on here. I appreciate everything. Everyone at home, have a good night.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.